And we have breaking news from our correspondents over at Mercedes, who have just announced that the reigning world champion Zach Cronin will be leaving the team at the end of the 2023 season. The Brackley-based outfit just confirmed the decision a few moments ago on social media, and speculations have already begun over who will take the now vacant seat at Mercedes for next year, with all early signs pointing to former Williams driver George Russell. This news, of course, comes just 3 days after the Brit's heartbreaking retirement at his home Grand Prix at Silverstone, a race he won last year on his way to the 2022 world title. The retirement goes down at the champion's third in the first 7 races of the year, with 2 third-place finishes in Azerbaijan and Austria as his best results. Cronin's management have yet to confirm whether he has spoken to any other teams regarding a seat in 2024, but of course, we will bring you any updates on this story when we receive more information.
What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome along to episode 59 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the Belgian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And as always, if you are new around here, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues on. So, there was the news. It's been confirmed for you there. We will be leaving Mercedes at the end of the 2023 season. It's been a rough start, in truth, to the 2023 campaign so far. Of course, 3 retirements from the opening 7 rounds, yet to actually win the Grand Prix, and a long way out in the race for the Drivers' Championship. So despite the fact we have the fastest car right now, obviously we're not quite sure in terms of where we'll go from 2024 onwards. We've still got 2 more seasons of this series to come. So if you guys let me know where you want me to go for next season, of course that decision will come when we get to it towards the end of the campaign. But for now, upgrades going on the car, mainly on durability, trying to cover our base and trying to avoid any faults in terms of any more power unit failures for the rest of the season. There we go, fastest car there by a bit of a gap over Red Bull. It was the MG UK we put in fresh last episode for the British Grand Prix that blew up in our face after 13 laps of Grand Prix running, so a third one of those already, and the ICE is getting close to being changed truthfully, so we'll make the change on that as well over the course of this race weekend. The gearbox also looking quite close, keep an eye on that, and we'll switch to the fresh stuff going into qualifying. But in terms of standings, then Verstappen leads by 11 points now to Hamilton, and we sit so far back, 70 points out in the standings. Our best finish remains 3rd place, and Charles Leclerc, though, still only 3 points in front of us in the rivalry. So honestly, that's still achievable, and I see the reason we can't try and beat him today in this Grand Prix, especially over the sprint as well. Marketing department event here, same as we've always seen in terms of new merch. We're sticking with the current lines. Only got enough for the t-shirt, so we'll carry on with that as we have done in the past. We'll have to start advancing time here and getting set for what should hopefully be an exciting Belgian Grand Prix. We've been alright at Belgium in the past in this series. Hopefully have a bit more luck today. Of course, yet to take victory there. Our closest chance back in 2021, fighting Verstappen for the win until, of course, the power unit gave way, as it's in more than once this season. Any more upgrades? We've got 2.6k resource points to spend going into this Grand Prix. We'll put those towards one on the air department that will come in after Zandvoort, and one more will go for, I think, on the powertrain department here. We'll see about what we can get. 2 minor ones here worked quite nicely, only enough for one of them though, so powertrain, aero and durability upgrades all on board, and that will let's do it here. So with the news broken, we're now leaving Mercedes. Let's get set for the Belgian Grand Prix weekend. Here we go then, qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix, set to get underway here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, one of the toughest tracks to win out on the F1 calendar, one of the longest tracks, I think the longest on the calendar for the season. Power unit changes made just before qualifying, so obviously we waste no time in the garage making those changes. So here we go, on to our first qualifying lap here, up towards La Source, turn 1, the very tight right-hander, in towards the apex we come here, looking for a nice clean start to the lap, trying to avoid that sausage curb on corner exit. Down the hill now, heading down towards turns 2, 3 and 4, because that combination comes up to Eau Rouge / Radions, making our way now 200 miles an hour, going through Eau Rouge and up the hill now, making our way to Radion. That's the peak on corner exit, and up towards turn number 5 now, at the far end of this Kemmel Straight, one of the longest straights and one of the biggest overtaking opportunities on the circuit. So running down towards the end of our first sector now. First sector complete, 30.071, very close to 29 there, but looking at a high 29, but missing out in terms of that early on. But a bit of a slide there going through turn 6, and on corner exit making our way through turn 7, sliding again. So have to try and keep the car under control for the remainder of this lap here. But coming to the last corners here, the bus stop chicane, turns 18 and 19, coming through to complete our first flying lap up towards the line, and it'll be a 1 minute 44.3 for us. So P3 right now behind Sainz and Norris, about 1.3 seconds behind Sainz. So we'll go for a second lap on this set of soft tyres and see what improvements we can find from our first effort. Up by 2 tenths, reaching the last 2 corners on the circuit once again through turns 18 and 19 once more. Down to P5 right now. Leclerc there in front of us. I assume Hamilton managed to get a lap in front of us as well. Up towards the line, losing a lot of time in the last two corners, only improving by a few hundredths of a second there, so not fantastic. And as of right now, puts us into P8 in the order to accelerate time. P9, P10, so we're sat in P10. Sainz fastest right now. We're going to need to gain about a second or two in order to keep ourselves in with a solid chance of pole position. So on to our third and final lap to complete qualifying, a second up as we enter turn 14 to end our second sector. 1 minute 14.3 there. We're improving constantly as a purple sector 1, only a green sector 2, but the third sector 3 all comes alive in the closing moments. 1:43.0 is the time to beat for us. The last few corners now, up through turn 17, through the gears again, 205, 206 miles an hour on the way up towards the bus stop, trying to take our third pole position of the season. Last few corners here, making our way through turn 19, improving by a full 2 seconds here, up towards the lines, complete our qualifying lap, and it is pole! Only just in this qualifying session, puts us into pole position for the sprint, and obviously from there trying to fight for P1 in the sprint and then the Grand Prix.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three: Cohen, Sainz and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So pole position for the sprint, then Sainz second and Hamilton in third. 6/10 clear of Sainz in qualifying. We did a lot better than we needed to on that last lap, but pole position for the sprint and a chance to gain 8 points on the two championship leaders, Hamilton and Verstappen, and from there a chance to put ourselves on pole for the Grand Prix and try to take our first victory at Spa. It could be today. So it could be the day we win our first Grand Prix of the year, but now it's time for the sprint race.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Cohen lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Albon, Stroll, Tsunoda, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Joe, Ricciardo, Magnussen and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Here we go then, no more talking, time for action for the sprint race here in Belgium. From first place on the grid, leading the field up towards La Source, the right-hander at turn number 1. Medium tyres in the car, nice and straightforward. Let's do this.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint.
So your top 8 then, we start on pole signs, starts from second, Hamilton third, Perez in fourth, then it's Leclerc, Norris, Max Verstappen down in the order, and Piastri starts from P8, so a big chance for us to gain points on Verstappen and for Hamilton to gain points on Verstappen as well in the race for the World Championship.
As all the cars take their positions on the grid, the final preparations have been made, and all that's left is for the drivers to deliver on track.
So sprint race then, moments away from getting started here, out of turn 19 and heading towards our pole position grid slot, looking to course to try and secure another sprint race victory and of course pole position for the Grand Prix as well. The big points are on off, but 8 points coming our way if we can win this one today. Sainz on our left there, who'll give us the biggest challenge, going up towards turn 1. Hamilton there, P3, can take the championship lead with a good result this weekend. Perez lines up P4, Verstappen down the order in P7. He's got work to do in this race, try and move himself up for a good, better qualifying spot for the race itself as the last few cars take their places on the grid. It's just a waiting game now for those 5 red lights to get this one underway. The last 2 cars into their grid spots, all locked in, and we're set to go. 5 red lights coming on for the sprint race here in Belgium. The run towards La Source is moments away. Lights out, foot to the floor, clutch away. We are racing here. Very good start compared to Sainz on our left there, up towards turn 1. Nice and easy cover off the outside into the first corner, and down the hill off towards Eau Rouge we go. Sainz tucks into second place, Hamilton third, Perez fourth, and Charles Leclerc rounds out your top 5. So great start there. One of our more comfortable starts in this series so far. Up through Eau Rouge for the first time here, up through the gears. Gear 8 already, nearing 200 miles an hour. Trying to use some battery if he needs to defend from Sainz on corner exit down the camel straight for the first time. Sainz trying the outside, giving space going in, but Sainz backs out of it. Doesn't quite get enough room, goes for it again. But defend the inside on the way up towards turn 5, end of the first sector. Into the right-hander we go. Nice and easy then. Sainz doesn't challenge us too much in the end and will maintain P1 for now. But Sainz will be right on our tail here, making our way down towards turn number 8. That downhill right-hander midway through the second sector now. Hamilton in third place, looking for any sort of opportunity he can try and take. Sainz on his inside now, on our outside, sorry, looking for the opportunity to run wide at turn 8 and through turn 9. Sainz around the outside and takes the lead away. So Carlos Sainz leads for the first time today. We sit in second and Hamilton still there in third place. On to lap 2 now. No DRS just yet. We've got the slipstream going down towards turn 5. Once again, myself and Sainz, we've cleared Hamilton and the cars behind us. So it's side by side for the race lead here on the run down towards turn 5 for the second time. Down the inside, out breaking the Spaniard and making our way through here on the outside still for turn number 6 and through 7 now. Got a better line going into the right-hander and Sainz falls away a bit wide on corner exit, but back into the race lead onto the grass bit there. Be careful doing that over the course of the sprint race course. It's a short distance, but the tyres can still wear out quite quickly if we're not too careful. On to the end of number 2 now. Sainz going for it one more time if he can into the bus stop chicane. Try and go for the lead. Can't quite do it just yet, but of course he'll have DRS on the way up towards the camel straight once again, running wide on corner exit. Sainz pulls alongside for a second. We see that fastest lap over the line to start lap 3, but Hamilton and Perez nick it from us, so clearly we're not the fastest car on the track. Sainz outbrakes us on the outside going towards La Source and down the hill once again up towards Eau Rouge once more. Side by side with Sainz, but hanging back a bit here to try and get DRS to the camel straight on the run up towards turn 5. So we can try and get DRS off of Sainz here and try and beat him up the hill going through Eau Rouge once again side by side with the Spaniard who gets through on corner exit. We slide a little bit on the way up, but now we've got DRS and overtake to our ability as well. So charging back at the Spaniard going down towards turn 5. Hamilton right behind us and Perez not too far back either, but the race lead returns to us once again as Hamilton try and challenge Sainz for position. He's challenging Sainz for P2. It could be Mercedes 1-2 here if Hamilton gets it right, sliding through the exit at turn 6 and through 7, sliding again there, really losing control of the car. But Hamilton is passing Sainz now, so up into P2 goes our teammate Lewis Hamilton. On to lap 5 now. Hamilton is now our biggest threat on the run towards the 5th corner. Hamilton tries the outside to defend the inside once again here over the curve so slightly. Hamilton, multiple Grand Prix winners here at Belgium, knows his way to victory here, but on the inside at turn 7, running wide there on corner exit, almost into the gravel. Hamilton takes the inside and might take the lead here. He's got a better line going through turn 8 now, and on the inside, down the hill once again, down the stretch, Hamilton on corner exit, jumps in front and takes the race lead for himself for the first time today. We run wide through turn number 9, and Hamilton gains a bit more time, so Sainz might put us under pressure here, but coming on a couple corners later now, onto lap 6, through Eau Rouge once again. The camel straight is our big passing opportunity, as it has been for the first 5 laps in this race. Sainz is 8 tenths back, 9 tenths back. No real threat for DRS, but we're going to threaten Hamilton on the run towards turn 5 once more. The outside of the racetrack on our teammate, of course. Our teammate for only 8 more races once this Grand Prix is over. And around the outside of Hamilton and clearing him for a second. Hamilton draws back alongside for a moment within a car length, but couldn't quite do it. So through turn 7, we take the lead once more. But of course, we've got to hold on to it for a little bit longer here. There's still 2.5 laps to go in this thing. I go a bit wide there at turn 8. Hamilton might seize a chance like Sainz did on the first lap. Hamilton takes the outside going into the left-hander of turn 9. Hamilton may pull clear of us. He's going to use overtake on corner exit side by side up towards P1, the left-hander at turn 10. Hamilton's still there though, not backing out over the curve, but be careful on that curve, forcing Hamilton out of the picture there, getting clear of him once more, and that's more or less all she wrote for the sprint race. Hamilton and Sainz kept us under constant pressure for the last 2 laps, but on to the end of lap number 8 now, coming through the last few corners through turn 17, up towards the Bastard chicane for the last time. Hamilton might try the outside, they're going to defend the middle there. Hamilton sees no way around us, and it's the 2 corners away from our second sprint win of the season. Final corner out of turn 19, starting a bit on corner exit. Sainz pulls alongside Hamilton for a second, but checker flag for us. We take second victory in the sprint race this season. Fantastic stuff. Pole position, 8 points for the Grand Prix the weekend, and our second sprint win of the campaign, and it put us in our best possible chance to try and win a Grand Prix for the first time in 2023. Hamilton takes driver of the day, but we managed to take the points, and that's all that matters.
Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye.
Solid effort then. So our second sprint win of the season. Hamilton finishes second, Sainz third, Perez fourth, Leclerc fifth, Norris sixth, Verstappen 7th, and Alonso beats Piastri for 8th place. Verstappen losing a fair bit of ground there. Hamilton only 6 points back in the championship, and we're up to 6th place now thanks to that performance. So in front of, I think, Piastri and Sainz there. And of course, only 5 points behind Norris now. So the championship, we could find ourselves in P5 if things go well for us in the Grand Prix. But now it's time to sprint in the rearview mirror. Let's get the main race underway.
Welcome to this visit to the Ardennes countryside. Spa-Francorchamps hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925, and this historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike. And us here in the commentary box too. So it's a warm welcome from the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track's a great one for fans of pure speed, and the average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles per hour. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Ocon, Stroll, Ricciardo, Joe, Sargent, Magnussen, Bottas and Cohen. And now it's time to head down to the track. It's just about time to go down to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
And there it is then, plot twist. The gearbox was on its last legs after the sprint race, I found out, so we're going to make the change onto a fresh gearbox, but as a result we are now starting in P20 for the Grand Prix. Give us a lot of work to do, but we've done well with the fresh power unit parts before in a Grand Prix such as this one, so a good opportunity for us to try and fight our way through the field. In terms of tactics for the race ahead, going to start on the medium tyres and then from there do 9 laps on the soft tyres to the end. So go the ultimate strategy once again. Truthfully, I feel like we haven't really had a race this season where we've actually been able to really utilise the ultimate strategy. There's always been something going on, like a safety car or some kind of incident we've had to put us down the order. But we'll see in this race if we can have a clean run through the order as Hamilton and Perez lead the field off in the formation lap. Try and have a clean run through the field, try and get up to the front runners early on and use those soft tyres to charge at the very end of the Grand Prix.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out.
Well, hopefully it's us got the strategy right, but only 2 medium tyre starters. That's us and Piastri starting on the C3 tyre. Everyone else looking at the C4 for the start. So that could be a concern for us over the course of the Grand Prix.
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Of course, we'll be counting on a good start here to try and get ourselves through as many of these cars as possible to come through to take our place at the back of the grid through turns 18 and 19 here. Of course, it hasn't been a fantastic season, but this is the sort of performance we can try and put in that will really kick-start it for us and give us a bit more confidence going into the second half of the campaign. So last corner then, for everyone taking their spots now. Valtteri Bottas and the Alfa Romeo alongside us here for the race start and trying to work our way through. Ricciardo's had a bit of a problem getting to his grid box there, but we'll hopefully get him in properly for the race start. With the last few cars now, Bottas and myself taking our spots on the grid. Perez and Hamilton on the front row, our teammate on pole position now. 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix to get this one underway. And this light start, foot to the floor. Go, go, go. We are racing here in Belgium. Good start there over Bottas, over Magnussen, over Zhou. 3 cars going up towards that first corner. Dive into the inside of Sargent, of Stroll, of Ricciardo. 3 wide for us at La Source. 3 wide again in front of us. Hülkenberg, Ocon, Albon there in front. Starting through the exit at turn 1, but jumping in front of both the AlphaTauri and the Aston Martin to our left. And down towards our Rouge for the first time. P14 here. 6th place in the first few corners. What a start. There's still work to be done here. Down the Camel Straight. Ocon our next target. When it pulls to the outside, may have been a bit of contact there with Ocon on the run towards turn 5. Closing on Hülkenberg now. 3 wide with Hülkenberg and Ocon for the run towards this 5th corner. Into the right hander we come. Still 3 wide. Ocon on our inside. Hülkenberg to the outside. The switch over. Ocon falls away. Hülkenberg falls away. P12 here. And now Alexander Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, our next 2 targets on the racetrack, going down towards turn 8 for the first time. on the inside of Albon, going into the right-hander. Down the hill we come here and clearing the Williams. So P11 on the start, 9 places gained, and finding ourselves right behind Yuki Tsunoda as we begin our run down the hill once again towards P1 into turn 10. But a couple corners later here into the last sector, going down towards turn 16 and 17 here, closing on Yuki Tsunoda. We've got the natural pace of Mercedes a lot faster than the AlphaTauri in front, so going through turn 17 now. 200 miles an hour as we hit towards the bus stop chicane around the outside of the Japanese driver, going into the braking zone around the outside of the inside for the last corner of the circuit. But P10 here, so up 10 places on this first lap. A lot of our work now clear for us. We've got 21 laps to try and chase down the race leaders as Perez leads the first lap. Pierre Gasly, our next target, in front of us. Piastri, then Sainz, then Verstappen. So Verstappen P6 now, so he's got a bit of work to be doing for himself in the course of the Grand Prix. He wants to try and beat Hamilton in the championship, try and maintain his championship lead. But for us, Gasly is our next target, down towards Eau Rouge once again. He's a bit of overtake on going down towards the corner, up the hill, and practically shoving Gasly through Eau Rouge, and on corner exit, pulling to the outside, going down the Kemmel straight once again, outside of Gasly, using our back to try and pull ahead here. No DRS just yet for another lap or so, down towards the braking zone. We're on the medium tyre, Gasly on the soft there, into the braking zone we come, around the outside, clearing the Frenchman as we did on his teammate in the first lap, and the Gasly in our mirrors now. Around goes one of the Williams cars, and it looks like Albon's had some kind of spin there, going through turn 6. What's happened to the Williams? Yellow flags are out as we close down on Oscar Piastri, but there's a yellow for Albon. He's got it going again, so no damage done to that race car. Let's look at the replay of exactly what's just happened to the tyre driver, going side by side with Tsunoda on the run towards turn 5. Closes in, pulls alongside, but loses the car, spins off and off onto the grass. Fortunately avoids the barriers, so no damage for Albon, so he'll carry on. He'll turn the car around, get himself moving once again, but just now finds himself in the back of the field with a lot of work to do. Perhaps Williams' chance of scoring points in this Grand Prix look quite grim. Fastest lap for us as we begin lap 3. Sainz and Piastri, our next 2 targets in front of us, making our way through turn 1. Around goes Sainz there, spinning in front of Piastri. It's taken very quick reactions to avoid that spin. Very lucky to avoid damage running into the back of Piastri, but now Verstappen finds himself a second and a half in front with no real threat behind, except for us closing on him now on these medium tyres. On to lap number 6 here, a few laps later. We've caught that train. Verstappen, then Alonso in front. Yellow flags in front. Verstappen's one of the cars. It's Sergio Perez who's got a problem. Perez is slow there. He was in the race lead. He led away from the start. Perez is out, and that's held up a number of cars here. We find ourselves right behind Verstappen and Alonso here, down the Kemmel straight. But Sergio Perez, who was leading this Grand Prix earlier on, is now out. But again, we can't focus too much on that. We're trying to take up Verstappen and Alonso, trying to take both of them if we can. Verstappen falls away side by side with Alonso, going deep though into turn 5. Verstappen gets past both of us here, so double whammy for myself and Alonso. Verstappen takes the place. Yellow flags going into Eau Rouge. Perez is done, and on to lap 7 now, closing on Max Verstappen, of course, the World Championship leader and our former championship rival, in the same place. You remember we made contact last season on the run towards turn 5, closing on the Dutchman, going onto the grass there, trying to force the way out inside of Verstappen, going into turn 5, trying to avoid contact as we did last season. This time around the outside, Verstappen taps us a bit on the side pod, going through turn 6, but through turn 7 got the better drive off, running slightly wide off our line on corner exit, but Verstappen can't quite challenge, and down towards turn 8, once again passing our former rival, and into 4th place now. Norris, Leclerc, and then Hamilton are the cars in front of us. Leclerc has fastest lap. Of course, that bonus point did go to us, but we lost it to Leclerc on lap 7 here, and running on to lap 9, Hamilton and Norris and Leclerc all stopped. Leclerc stopped a lap ago. Hamilton and Norris coming into the pit lane, change onto their medium tyres, which means for the first time today, after 9 laps of racing, we take the lead in the Belgian Grand Prix from dead last on the grid. But a lot of work to be done, because of course we've got to make our first pit stop as well. Piastri stays out with us, obviously. He starts on the medium tyres as well. What will be his game plan? Does he pit with us, or does he try and go pit a lap earlier than us, try and get any sort of advantage? On to lap 12, Piastri into the pit lane. We hold our lead. Hamilton 6.4 seconds in front of us. Leclerc P4 and Norris P5. Hamilton fastest lap, and that's an ominous sign behind us as Piastri now fully get the top 5 goals. He's putting his fresh tyres on. Not sure what tyres he's going for. He's going for soft or hard tyres. But as for us, on to lap 13, Hamilton has gained 4 seconds in the last 2 laps or so. So we're now only 2.4 in front of our teammate, but coming in for our first stop, we'll lose the lead here as Hamilton comes out of turn 19 into the pit lane. Lee goes back to Hamilton, and we'll fall away here, assumably behind Leclerc and Norris at the very least. But in terms of where we emerge compared to Alonso, Verstappen and Piastri, not too sure there. Norris is there. Alonso's coming through turn 19 now. 2.3 second stop onto our set of soft tyres. I think they're only the car on softs. I'm not sure where Piastri's gone to just yet. I have to wait and see. Alonso, Verstappen and Piastri all passing us. Piastri's on hard tyres, so he's going to be earlier with his pit stop and obviously make the change onto the C2 tyre. So from here then, we've got 9 laps to come back from the deficit we've lost in the pit lane in terms of our strategy perhaps not working out. But now we've got a lot of work to be doing, but luckily on fresh, soft tyres we can use to run all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. On to the end lap number 14, going through towards the last sector. We've managed to actually catch Piastri and Alonso. Verstappen a bit further in front. Hamilton's about 18 seconds in front of us right now, so work to be done to try and close him down, but still plenty of time to try and do it. But we, of course, can't try and lose too much time behind these 3 cars here. So Piastri, our first target, through turn 17 up towards the bus stop. Once again here, closing on the McLaren. Might try towards the inside here, going into the final chicane. Piastri, let us go. Alonso covers Piastri off. We've got a chance now on the outside for turn 19. It's going siding around the outside of Alonso and Piastri. DRS in play, and onto that 15 into P5 now. So double whammy there for us, working in our favour this time. And Verstappen, our next target, down the camera straight once again here, going down towards turn 5. Norris is 9.2 seconds in front, so can't lose too much time battling Verstappen here around the outside of our former rival, going into turn 5, trying to clear him for corner entry. Yes, we do. Up into 4th place now, and now the long, hard charge begins up towards Norris, Leclerc, and then Hamilton. Is a lot longer charge than we've anticipated. Those Verstappen is still set there right behind us, going to clear him and pull away. But onto that 21 now, we find ourselves 1 second behind Norris and closing in, trying to get our first taste of DRS here. We're going to miss on the detection point. We're over a second back, so no DRS for us here. That'll make our job a lot harder going down towards turn 5, and our softs are starting to wear slightly thinner here towards the late stage of this Grand Prix. We're closing on Norris a little bit, but not enough. Going down towards turn 5 once again. It's going to all come down to what we can try and do on the last lap of this thing. Closing on Norris down to 7 tenths now. It's now 6 tenths to begin the last lap of this race. And fastest lap still to our credit as well. But of course we may lose that on the last lap too. Up towards the source for the final time. It's going to come down to what we can do on Norris going down towards turn 5, as it has been for several opportunities in this Grand Prix. So closing down the stretch here, up towards the roof for the last time. Hamilton on course to win this thing. Leclerc set in second, but the podium finish still undecided as of yet. Can we try and match our best finish of 3rd? Norris is keeping his eye on his mirrors for us with DRS this time, going down towards turn 5 for the final time in this thing. But closing in bit by bit here. Is it going to be enough to try and go for a late move for Norris? I don't think so. We're closing, but not enough here. We still find ourselves a few tenths behind our compatriot in the McLaren there, right on his tail going through turn 7. It's going to be a very, very late scrap, but running a bit wide there at turn 7. I think the tyres are giving all they can give here. Norris is right in front of us. It's so tantalisingly close to P3, but he may have just withstood the last little bit of pressure we're putting him under here. The soft tyres are fading, and Norris is pulling away in the last sector. So in the end then, it was a valiant charge. We've put 10 seconds on Verstappen and Piastri in P5 and P6. Hamilton emerges from the last corner to take 2 wins from 2. He's going to come through to the line and win the Belgian Grand Prix. Leclerc finishes 2nd. Norris right in front of us there in 3rd. There'll be no podium for us. P20 to P4 at the flag with fastest lap. A solid drive regardless. Hamilton wins then. 2nd win for Mercedes this season. 2 for Hamilton, none for us. There might be enough for Hamilton to take the lead in the World Championship too, but a solid race all round. Drive of the day, but was the win on? Probably not, but disappointed to not come home with a podium finish.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So Hamilton then wins once again here in Belgium. Leclerc 2nd and Norris in 3rd place. Hamilton potentially taking a big step towards the lead of the championship and surpassing Max Verstappen, who's held the lead all season long, and all of a sudden an 8th World Championship for Hamilton could be in prospect if things go well from over the course of the next 8 rounds. But in turn to us, yet to take victory this season. Of course, the gearbox change didn't help our case much, but all in all, solid Grand Prix day for Mercedes. We have to have a look at the final result from this Belgian Grand Prix and where that leaves us in terms of the World Drivers' Championship.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes move to the top of the table. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
So off the podium then, we finish in 4th place. In 5th place, it's Max Verstappen. 6th to Oscar Piastri. Alonso, Tsunoda, Gasly and Ocon make up the points paying places. Sainz in the end fell to 11th. That spin early on the race did not help his case at all. But Hamilton then another victory, and the chance towards the World Championship for him become even greater. Hamilton takes the lead of the championship by 9 points over Verstappen now, and we still find ourselves 70 points back, but this time in P6, so gain a little bit here on the championship leaders. Norris and Perez still in front by about 8 points or so. Mercedes lead the Constructors' Championship for the first time all year here. 1 point in front of Red Bull at the halfway stage, but still plenty of work to be done this season. But guys, that'll more or less do it for this episode of the F1 Ultimate Career Series. We've got 8 races to go before we depart Mercedes. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future F1 content. An absolutely fantastic day. And until my next video, I shall see you next time. Goodbye.